Ah, yes, latter-day princess with Wales. Let me up, you bitch.
Hello, Brian. Cigarette. Okay, let it out. Shut up! How do you feel about Paul Matthews?
Well, nothing against him personally, but I don't think he's very good at making films.
I don't care!
Well, why did you ask me then?
Minion, are we almost ready? Fantastic.
Why do you keep making me do these reviews?
That would be why.
Fast lane to a hurricane. Open road ready to roll. Put pedal down right away. Red line and I'm giving more. City lights burn right behind me. Top down I push it to the floor. Street sign center line speeding. Burning hot I feel ready to roll.
Greetings, Genevieve! This is the big one, the fantastically large, gigantic one, the first Paul Matthews film.
So it's him at his most unpracticed and unvarnished?
Yeah.
Sounds grim.
Well, funny you should say that. Grimm was Paul Matthews' first film as a director, but his third as a writer. It's also Peak Viewing's fourth film, so we have plenty more films to watch once we're finished with this little project.
Oh, joy!
Before they took to filmmaking, the Peak Viewing team were a building company, which I suppose explains Matthews' unimaginative, workmanlike approach to directing. They'd use the profits from each film to pay for the next one until the mid-2000s when their output mostly dried up. Since then, they seem to have reverted to being a building company in Gloucester, England.
Is it meant to be in Gloucester, Uganda? Or is this the one time where they set something where it's meant to be?
Probably the second one, but I wouldn't put it past them. This film actually lines up with one of our previous reviews, Breeders, which started out as a sequel to this. You see, Grimm pre-sold very well in Cannes, and the distributor ordered a sequel before it was even finished. Then the film was seen, and quite reasonably they worked out no one wanted a sequel to a Paul Matthews film. But enough backstory. We open with... well...
Oh, and pray tell, what were your stunning original comments on the opening credits?
Well, if you see, I just wrote, it looks like Superman the movie by way of Windows 95. Mm-hmm. Oh, and down here I just wrote, whoosh! Yeah, like that.
I'm gonna put a little bit more effort into it and say that it looks like Batman Forever's credits remade by a 10-year-old on their first day in Blender.
All the actors' names look embarrassed to be seen with the rest of the film. The credits are so fast that we barely have time to read the poor bastards' names. And yes, that one did say Kadamba.
One word. Like Madonna.
Grimm, brought to you by the Sega Saturn.
All that whooshing was immediately followed by a much too long static shot of the moon and then a bunch of random shots that don't link together. Oh, Matthews, it's like the edited magic was there from day one.
In the smoking section, we've got the Axis Mundi, the navel of the world, connecting our world to the spirit world, through which magic flows. In a practical sense, that probably means glowy things. We've got Matthew's camera on the prowl for his first celebrity victims. As they've yet to find any celebrities, they've had to make do with a guy who looks a bit like Garrett Graham. In a room decorated by a theme park queue area, we have some open source Ouija board action.
Clear your mind.
See, that's very good advice, because if you try to think about this film, it will hurt you.
Oh God, it's moving.
Shh! Concentrate.
Clear your mind and concentrate? Holy crap, this film's so dumb it's accidentally written a Zen koan.
I don't know what that is.
Unless someone's messing around, Ouija boards are controlled by the idiometer effect, where people do small unconscious actions which are then ascribed to an outside force. Of course, when Matthew's characters get together for a seance, it gets upgraded to the idiot meter effect. And rather than contact the dead, they accidentally free a troll from its stone prison.
Maybe Matthews is inspired by Hellraiser 3. Pinhead was a bit of a troll in that.
I am the way.
One of the group playing with the board was Katie, played by the uniquely named Kadamba. It really sounds like the sort of name that a 19th century sideshow performer in blackface would use in order to pretend to be from darkest Africa.
Well, it's not that, thankfully. It's her actual name.
Regardless, she suddenly gets possessed with the spirit of desperately trying to act. Funny, her eyes never glow at home. Oh, no, wait. What a lovely singing voice you must have.
And possession naturally means Meg Ryaning in When Harry Met Sally until the troll is finally unleashed. Oh, yes! Yes! I'll have what she's having. And by she, I mean the troll because it's escaped and I'm still stuck here watching this.
Minion, lock the door.
Yes, mistress.
Damn it!
And the window.
Yes, mistress.
Oh, damn it!
And his legs together.
Yes, mistress.
You know, if Ouija boards really did lead to Paul Matthews films, the Satanic Panic might have had a point. Did the film die?
No, for reasons best known to himself, Matthews decided to cut random plot-important scenes before it was released in the UK.
Basically, the troll grabbed these two and took them down to its subterranean kingdom. Also, the cutscene established a magic pendant that's important but mostly unexplained. My honest guess is that Matthews felt the editing was a bit too clear and was worried it would make his later films look bad.
Here's an example of another Paul Matthews staple, pretending the film's set where it's clearly not. Here we have houses so English that you can smell the quiet desperation, but it's set in that weird part of the USA that is clearly England. Oh, maybe that's another Hellraiser reference.
This shot of him driving through an English housing estate is just hysterical. This is the worst location doubling I've ever seen in a movie. I mean, it was shit in Berserker, but at least Sweden's sometimes sunny.
That USA next to Virginia on his truck has gone from the lady doth protest too much to gaslighting territory.
This own brand Matt Dillon is our celeb for the film, Rob, played by Emmanuel Zerb, coming straight off of co-starring in a little film called Bad Boys. Yes, that one. I can only guess that his agent played a practical joke on him.
Oh, Rob, it is so good to see you.
Maybe he thinks he's on holiday and he's too polite to wonder why everyone's calling him Rob.
This is to remind you that you're supposed to be scared. I'm already scared of you, thank you very much.
Okay, Rob here works for the government and is here to survey the house, because even though they showed us them releasing the troll, which has kidnapped people, the important thing is the foundational damage done to the house, thanks to whatever tunneling weirdness he's up to down there.
Jeez. This is serious.
Yeah.
Perhaps the troll's moving the house across the Atlantic.
Well, that would be a top kick bit of trolling. But this whole thing makes me wonder why Matthews chose to include this all at all. He's got a magic troll underground, a group of friends are going down to face it. Why do they need the damage to the house to convince Rob to go? It's like Matthews made the story come up with its own complicated paperwork to let the main character get involved, when he could have just been asked to come along, or, even better, been one of the people at the Ouija board. This is a very simple plot, and he is wildly overcomplicating it.
That is the third Paul Matthews staple, and we're only 8 minutes in. I give it about roughly 15 minutes before we get the glowy things. Glowy things.
What's unbelievable is that house is still standing. That's not subsidence, the wall's turning into meringue.
The caves must run under here. I mean, there's no other explanation.
Unbelievable.
Still take your coffee black.
Yeah.
Yes, black, like my men.
Yes, black, like my shirt.
Yes, black, like my mood when I arrived on set and realized what I'd signed up for.
Things have been really tense around here lately. It's not just the subsidence, it's other things.
Yes, like your house collapsing at any moment.
Some weird stuff has been going on.
What do you mean?
There have been some animal mutilations.
Neighbor had kids, that's all.
Oh, those little scamps, scrumping for apples, mutilating animal way, what the fuck?
The actor was born in the mid-60s in New York. Rob probably spent his childhood avoiding the son of Sam. Makes you nonchalant about these things.
People have been disappearing.
Neighbor had kids, that's all.
Hey, I might not like though the Dahmerfish Gacy Bundy kids been reinforcing their house's foundations, but you gotta applaud their ingenuity.
So are these two brother and sister? Are they ex-lovers? Friends? It's got so much coffee and confused sexual tension, it could be a Folgers advert. You can really smell the incest.
But I don't want to open up any old wounds, okay?
You're not really making it any clearer, movie.
I think they're mum and kid, but he's the mum.
Come on, I'll show you your room.
Wait, on the ride to the house, they said he was a local government official.
Residents have taken matters into their own hands and have brought in mining expert Rob Colder, president of the Woodland Hills Tenants Association.
And yet he needs to stay over with her? How fucking big is this town? Or are all those people missing because big chunks of the town and the surrounding states have collapsed into the tunnels and he had to drive over via South Dakota?
Actually, re-listening to the radio broadcast, they were saying they brought him in from the outside and the head of the local association was someone else?
President of the Woodland Hills Tenants Association. Trish Hanley says we're fed up with the lack of action from our government officials.
Man, I hate it when people doing voiceover don't bother reading the lines before recording and fuck it up. After a quick shot of the first hipster troll to take up vaping, we're over with another member of the cast of West Virginia Enders. Time for some extremely highbrow humour, by the way.
Let's bring them out.
What is that disgusting smell?
Probably the drains again.
This is another section that got cut right down. Originally the troll phased through the floor, explaining why he's suddenly in the living room, and then broke through the floor to drag her underground. As it is, it now looks like she's been murdered, and we never get a good look at her, so when she turns up alive later, the audience inevitably has no idea who she is.
So remember to look confused when she shows up again later.
You're brave, assuming the audience can remember who she is right now.
Fair point.
Very fair point. I've made it.
Well, that's something.
Something hilariously like Hex Vision in Red Dwarf.
Uncle Arnie fries them alive with his hex vision.
Seeing as that's the second time she's done that, I'm calling it. This is officially Matthew's first random glowy thing obsession. The legend begins! I like how he's looking out of the window with the relaxed air of a man who's not been told he's staring right at a woman who's turned her eyes into particularly noisy headlights. They head out to the entrance to the local cave system /mine/evil troll lair to investigate all the damage to the town's foundations and all the evil troll that's been murdering people. There they meet up with the rest of the main cast.
Apart from Rob's host, we got Katie the Nightlight, Garrett Graham, and these two who weren't involved with the Ouija board scene. So regardless of what Matthews wants us to believe, he doesn't actually need a long convoluted reason to get characters involved with the plot.
He could have just written down, these are some people we've never seen before. They'll die later. It'll be great.
P.S. It won't be great. It'll be fucking terrible anyway. It'll suck.
P.P.S. Sad face emoji.
Ken is on the county board?
Well, yeah, but we need somebody with your expertise to make them listen.
You know, I'm no expert, but taking an entire homeowners association's belonging seems like a good way to end up with your own Wikipedia page and or episode of fascinating horror.
Looking at the actors' IMDb pages, I'd say that's a more definite way to get famous than starring in this.
Nice gear. You know how to use it?
I can manage, thanks.
Nice outfit. Any of you know that you're going caving? Unlike his girlfriend's pre-ripped jeans, though, it shows a willingness to save time later on. I'm so glad Matthews decides to cut random plot-important sequences rather than trimming off seconds of them ambling off at the end of a shot.
But that sounds like a terrible idea.
It's called sarcasm.
What? No! Also, a sarcasm is what they're about to climb into. Okay, this just looks like they're going into the cave for a catalogue shot.
Do miners do it in the dark?
as soon as the fetish shit is finished.
Why is spelunking making you horny? Sure, it's a big vaginal earth hole that's moist on the inside, but a cold, damp cave is the last place anyone wants to have sex.
Oh my god, that's the smallest Welshie I've seen this side of the actual guy. Anyway, time for the Parade of Differences to do the descent into the cave, a sanctum, more than 47 meters down into the black water abyss. A grim job for 6 people, not even the 7 of them, intermedios all. The dead and the dying, surrounded by the living dark.
Okay, now you're officially stretching the gimmick.
Now I'm officially out of cave movies. Oh, no, wait, sorry. This movie is a time trap. Okay, now I'm officially out of cave movies.
You forgot Within, aka The Cavern, the movie with the worst ending of all time. Big up to my old school viewers in the day. Whoop whoop.
Damn clever of them to leave floodlight location markers everywhere.
Are we going to see all of them climb into the cave individually? You're damn right we are. Minutes of riveting cave footage. Sorry, did I say minutes of riveting cave footage? I meant what feels like hours of mind-numbing cave footage.
This is kind of spooky. Oh, come on, we did worse things when we were kids at Halloween.
Yeah, animal mutilations apparently. But I do think it's rather impressive they filmed this in an actual cave, unlike the later The Descent, and then somehow managed to get better lighting in that real cave than I've seen in a lot of movies shot in the studio on much more of a budget. Take that, Morbius!
Interesting. I was just about to point out that this is the same cave system they filmed the kids' show The Changes in back in the 70s, and it looks much less impressive in this.
And right on cue, meaning it's shoved in randomly, is the woman that was grabbed from the living room.
Who?
Exactly.
Whoever she is, she's trussed up like a slave Leia cut out in an old troll's bedroom. 'Cause she kind of is. That's amazing. The music's trying to be ominous, do fuck all, and sound like a cover of Hex from Alton Towers at the same time.
According to this, there are 4 tunnels, but none of them run under your homes.
So, we're wasting our time.
Shouldn't you have had this conversation up top? Their spelunking gear looks like it's been set to PTA meeting. Rob figures the cave system's larger than it appears on maps because there's no bats.
Bats?
Yes, bats! Did I mention that Paul Matthews' obsession with holding shots way too long is also in full force in this film?
Is that 4 or 5 Matthew Staples now?
I can't remember exactly, but mild brain damage to the viewer is also one of his hallmarks, so add that to the list.
You know, few directors step out into the spotlight fully fleshed out, in their final form. Why did one of them have to be Matthews? You know, I am not convinced that the headlamps are here for safety. I'm pretty sure they were just a hot fashion accessory in the 90s for about 3 minutes. Anyway, these two, Glozer the Glozerian and Garrett Graham, discuss their ulterior motives for coming down here, i.e. the troll. You see, they haven't told anyone else about it.
We should tell someone, Steve.
Oh, sure.
Look, we can't tell them we summoned an evil troll out of a cave with a Ouija board. Not because it's our foe, but because it's fucking stupid.
Plus, about half of them would just assume that we're talking about 4chan. And just so you know, this point was so unclear that it's basically a plot twist that they're not only using the house problems as a cover to go down and face the troll.
Whoopsie daisy, looks like someone forgot to clean the fisheye lens. Actually, it's just the troll's POV. He's a little miffed and he's seeing red. His vision also seems to come with constant screams, which I can't imagine is a benefit from a sensory standpoint.
I love how they took the time to show him casually breaking a rock underfoot. So now, every time he's walking, we can wonder why he's not accidentally making a staircase down to the center of the fucking earth.
Looks like they managed to double book their night shoot location with the opening scene from E.T., which is impressive because that involves time travel. You know, I've been thinking...
A dangerous pastime.
I know.
Maybe Matthews cut the violent scenes earlier on because they depicted the troll breaking through the floor with his victims when this shot shows it wasn't necessary. He chose continuity over the film making sense, which is slightly better than as usual, choosing glowy things and unconvincing accents over both of them.
Oh, we forgot to mention the terrible American accents. That's another Matthews staple right there.
You forgot to mention them. I was ignoring them in the hope that they'd leave my ears alone.
You know, the troll looks distractingly like Rawhead Rex.
Oh, fuck, now I can't unsee that. Not even Clive Barker likes Rawhead Rex looking like Rawhead Rex. He got so pissed off about it, he made Hellraiser.
Arguably making this yet another accidental Hellraiser reference. So our intrepid neighbourhood watch scheme have hit a little bit of a wall-shaped snag on their journey.
Are we going to be able to get through this?
I think so.
What are we gonna do?
Blow it.
I'm not really sure what good that'd do, but I'm sure the stalagmite will approve.
He probably means using dynamite. The awful dialogue is really improved by the flat delivery and long pauses, so they all sound extra stilty and unmemorable.
I am really not sure if dynamiting a cave system / disused mine that might be underneath people's houses when you're investigating potential geological instability is the best idea. But what do I know? I know I want them all to die, so I approve of this plan.
Agreed.
I particularly approve of how they hid about 3 feet from the explosion and just hope that no one equally stupid left them leftover mine explosives nearby, because this cave is sometimes a mine.
Compared to the action in this, Paul Matthews' other films look like they were helmed by Michael Bay. And not to be rude, but they could have knocked over that collection of polystyrene rocks with a feather and a light push.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, the troll's already got the floodlights set up for you, so all your bad acting will be clearly visible. If not clearly hearable over the fucking score.
What was that?
I have no idea, I couldn't hear it either. Maybe ask the terrible fucking bats.
That's only marginally more convincing than a guy holding one on the end of a stick.
Yeah, luckily the special effects guy wasn't Vlad the Bat Impaler. Oh, you meant on the end of a string!
Yeah.
Hey, you know how Matthews cut the plot important stuff but left other shots way too long?
Yeah?
And some of these shots he kept holding after he cut the bats.
Oh my god, that's literally a Birdemic level fuck up!
I told you there'd be bats.
Movie? The fact that there's all these bats down here means one of two things. One, they've been trapped down here for centuries, possibly feeding on guano, and each other, and your heroes have just unleashed cannibal bats into the local area. Or two, they just prove that the cave system is much larger than the map shows, which should be enough for the local government to investigate the claims that the houses are built over the caves / mines.
Ken is on the county board?
Well, yeah, but we need somebody with your expertise to make them listen.
And they can now leave.
Or 3, the movie is stupid and they all need to be killed by the troll.
Oh, yeah.
Right afterwards, we cut to the troll wandering in to check on his victim, as though he heard the boom and was concerned she'd blown herself up in an escape attempt.
Looking at this eye shield POV shot, I'm half expecting a nightmare porn parody to break out. Then I stop myself, because good things never happen during one of these films, unless I make them happen.
As the crow flies, we got about 2 miles to the houses.
Sure you're gonna make it that far, Trish? Why don't you just treat it as a long shopping expedition?
Hear that, Trish? You like shopping, Trish? You want to see the cave's magic, Trish?
Oh, shut up!
In a moment of unexpected cleverness, Trish actually decides to leave some string behind them as they go.
This isn't Hansel and Gretel, you know, honey.
I know that.
If it makes you feel better, you can use it, Trish.
She's actually helping us map the newly discovered caves! What a loser!
What a muppet having a backup in case the troll forgot to pay his electric and all the floodlights go out. But if you think this string idea goes anywhere, no it doesn't, and you should really lower your expectations. Anyway, walking. Go into the floodlight, Caroline! Go into the floodlight! Faster! Please! This shot lasts for so fucking long I can feel it evolving into the Berserker Hell's Warrior boat shot all the way over Heen.
Heen?
Well, yeah, Heen. It's like temporal version of here, like where, when, here, Heen. This film is set in 1995, so we're watching it over Heen.
Did you invent this word and just come up with this skit because you wanted people to use it in everyday vernacular?
Well, Yeah, but just think about this. It makes perfect sense. Okay, you find yourself wandering through a marketplace in 15th century Amsterdam and you come across your friend Keith from Adelaide. What are you going to say when you see him? Are you going to be all like, Keith, what are you doing here? Which technically doesn't make sense. Or are you going to say, Keith from Adelaide, what are you doing in Amsterdam in the 15th century? Which is accurate, however, it is very unwieldy. Or are you going to say, Keith from Adelaide, what are you doing heen?
Right. So, if I ever encounter Keith from Adelaide, I'll keep that in mind.
That's all I ask. Also, if you're a Doctor Who writer, keep it in fucking mind. This will make your script so much less unwieldy.
Just follow the passageway.
Though you just assume continues on. Oh wait, the lighting's so bright you could probably see for miles.
Here. Thanks.
What's gonna cost you?
Another cup of Folgers?
Oh, don't, Rob. Don't start something you can't finish.
I saw your half-finished cup in the sink, Rob. You didn't even rinse it out. Oh, yeah, flirt. Oh, yes. Ha-ha, ha-ha, ah.
I do love the slight change in film quality and tone between them and the troll. It's like the suburban book clubber in an episode of Goosebumps, and the trolls in some random Power Rangers outtakes.
No, that's just extra slow-mo. So we can really tell the troll's a guy in a suit with big stompy boots. And they cut back to him just enough so you can never quite forget that he exists and get confused when a particularly ugly furry invades the world's most boring caving drama.
Regardless, we are witnessing a tragedy unfolding. The poor troll trapped himself in there with them.
And it's unclear if it's an accident or not.
How was that? I don't know, but you lot dynamited a possibly unstable, unexplored cave system.
Yeah, it can't be your fault.
There's no airflow.
Then why is the fire moving from side to side as though air is moving? Plus, what's the big deal? Just try investigating where the many, many places daylight seems to be coming from and work from there.
You brought the whole goddamn roof down.
I didn't use that much explosive, for God's sake.
You forget that you're also incompetent, and you didn't properly check the area before blowing it up. But, you know, those two things overlap.
We'll have to find another way out.
Yeah, and what if there isn't one?
Then this cave would be a lot darker.
What are we gonna do about supplies?
Well, we have supplies for about 3 days.
3 days?
And if they run out, they can eat you first.
If we don't find a way out within the next 12 hours, someone will come and get us.
No, of course, experienced cavers always let people know when they're planning on taking amateurs into possibly geologically unstable caves and start breaking the law by dynamiting the place. Honestly, I can't tell if this makes his Christian Slater looking self better or worse at caving. Anyway, the trolls hang out in the wall watching all this unfold. Pretty soon a mix of them interrupting his scream vision and him being offended by the lack of proper caving outfits means that one of them has to wander off 2 feet to the side where inexplicably no one can see or hear them die.
It's not the first time I've done cave. Anyway, don't worry.
But in their defense, these people are so forgettable that you could see this happening right in front of you and still not notice.
It's also the kind of movie where you don't remember the characters' names until after they die because the rest of them never stop saying it.
Trish, 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 Trish.
Can't you shut the fuck up about Trish?
Trish! Trish! Oh no, she'll never hear us over all this roaring!
Tisk, tisk, tisk. All that meat and he goes for the eyeball?
Now kiss?
I'll decline that, thank you.
They seem to be working on the assumption that Trish somehow walked a mile ahead in the 10 seconds they stopped paying attention to her. So finally, it's time to pay off something that was never established earlier on, because Garrett Graham's got the Trolls pendant.
Yeah, but I got his pendant.
Not to be a pendant, but that's a medallion.
He needs that for the Fraggle Rock disco night. He's naked without it.
You saw it hurt him before.
We didn't see that before. I fell asleep. Did we not see that before?
No, Matthew's cut that bit.
Oh, thank fuck. We didn't see that before!
Steve, what are you planning?
To kill the motherfucker.
You think, just maybe, it might be a good idea to tell everyone else they're trapped in a cave with the most hideous monster the budget could afford?
Is everything alright?
What's it to you, Blondie?
Of course not. Trying in preparation just makes it more embarrassing when you die.
Garrett's also got a weird psychic link with the troll, and why? Who knows? But it only appeared when it was eating Trisha's face.
It feels like...
So it might just be sympathy pain by proxy.
It's like he suddenly remembered he had to film a painkiller advert. Ah, I need ibuprofen!
These guys are worried about being trapped down there longer than they have supplies for, but according to the light on the wall, they also found water. Moving water. Moving water with a consistent light source, and they didn't even fucking notice.
Underacted so much their brains stopped working.
Anyway, they're still searching for...
Trish?
No, it's a horse.
A chair?
What the hell's a chair doing down here?
Sitting minding its own business, mostly.
I really wish we could have seen the troll relaxing, just hanging out in his comfy chair, eating eyeballs, and listening to the screams in his head.
We're trapped.
No, we're not.
I think he'll kill us.
What thing?
The monster, for Christ's sake!
What?
That
What?
is both the best and worst line reading in the film.
What?
I mean, it's hilarious when you realise that this is literally the first time she's been informed there's a monster in the film.
What?
I don't know, I'm kind of partial to the way this guy yells no.
No!
It's like he was being pulled into the ADR booth mid-take. And just so you know, this is a different character from Katie, and she wasn't involved with the seance, so Matthews can not only get people involved without a convoluted reason, but it makes you wonder all over again why these two didn't say anything about the troll. They already told her. This script should really count as psychic damage.
No!
After enough amateur dramatics to make a community centre blush, and the specially imported American actor coming off a big budget movie's agent cry...
Last week we had a seance. They have a right to know!
They eventually decide to continue the search for Trish.
Alright, we're out of here.
Not without Trish.
Sorry, Trish!
The accents in this are amazing though. So many varied and distinct ways for them to fuck it up. It's like a film populated entirely by me.
Where in the world did this chair come from?
How the fuck should I know? Come on.
I suspect that's also Paul Matthews' answer to that question.
Well, you know what they say. As above, so below. Also has mysterious chair in a cave.
Sorry, that's about as long as it takes for them to leave the room because Matthews left all of the footage in. But of course, if we tried to show you that, YouTube would block the video. So enjoy that 25 seconds of silence.
To be fair, it would probably be for the benefit of public health if they did block the video.
Yeah.
And of course we then start the next shot with a completely empty frame for good measure.
You can tell Matthews is a builder by trade. The guy just loves shots of structures. Not pretty or good, just technically functional.
Oh, God, Rob, do you think she could be down there?
I'm gonna have to find out.
Rob seems utterly unsurprised at looking down a sheer cliff in a sealed and abandoned mine and seeing a collection of lit torches as if that's a normal, everyday occurrence. It's so deranged even this guy feels the need to speak up.
There's a light down there.
Admittedly, he can't count, but baby steps.
You might wonder what exactly is interesting down there, seeing as there's light fucking everywhere, but Rob's a Trekkie and can't resist it when there are
4 lights!
That's an optical illusion. Our lights reflecting off the water.
Fucking what? If that was your torches, you'd see them move. They'd not be lighting a whole ass path a couple of stories further down.
Does Rob need to go to Specsavers?
Rob's just had enough of this shit and doesn't give a fuck anymore. You ever wanted to thrill at the boredom and marvel at the lack of suspense of seeing a man climb down in real time? Well, now you can. By buying and watching Grimm and regretting your life choices, because we're not fucking putting that into the review.
What the...
We're 46 minutes in, and I think this is the first time he's noticed any of the dozens of mysterious lights in this cave system. Looks like we were wrong. Paul Matthews is capable of writing character development.
What the hell is this?
A very goth Christmas tree, both ancient and Bauhaus. Anyway, possibly in an effort to not make Rob look bad, seemingly no one up there can see the torches until they climb down.
Wow.
Even this guy, who earlier saw the torches.
There's a light down there.
Oh my god. What is this place?
Anyway, by this point in filming, even the film's only professionals acting had devolved so much.
Cut the crap!
That the viewers looked from amateur to pro, and from pro to amateur, but it was impossible to say which was which.
You're scaring the shit out of everyone. Cut it out!
Did you just quote Animal Farm?
What? No, I paraphrased it. Or I parodied it. One of the two. Whatever I did, I parodied the fuck out of it.
Cut the crap!
We've got to find Trish. Can't you shut the fuck up about Trish?
That guy's an arsehole, but he has a point.
That guy's an arsehole, but that's about it, really. Well done. Carry on.
You want Trish? I'll give you fucking Trish. Okay, two things I love about that, and when I say love, I mean find funny enough to bring up. One, Rob shoved him out of the way of Trish and then leapt backwards just in time, and two, even though it's a dummy, they still set up an obvious crash mat.
Christ, it's like the Sony executives, the second time Morbius flopped.
God!
No, that's the troll. But the troll's called Grim, and trolls are from Norse mythology, and Grim was one of Odin's names, so sure, that's God.
How does he manage to move the ancient wooden post holding the platform that he's standing on so much, and yet it still doesn't collapse? Don't answer that movie, any answer would just make it worse. So prepare to get very confused as this group of people you can't really tell apart splits apart into smaller groups.
We have to go back. We have to go back.
I think what Hagan is trying to say here is they took a bit of normal speed screaming and placed it over a slowed down bit of him being dragged through the cave.
Oh, so low.
Or so low.
Well, that takes care of the grieving husband, I guess. He battled hard and got through the 5 stages of grief, being in a cave, yelling his wife's name over and over, getting exploded, getting grabbed by a monster, and being eaten by a wall.
4 of those are also in the 5 stages of an average episode of Nightmare. The 5th is, ooh,
nasty.
Do you think they realised the wall was repaired via the magic of the Sony Pictures ident? I've watched too many DVDs.
Nobody's reacting like he does. Meanwhile, Garrett and Kitty are off for themselves, being occasionally quasi-possessed semi-villains. Garrett's seeing with the red troll vision that makes most things look vaguely pornographic, and Kitty's having a breakdown while desperately trying to act.
It's all my fault!
The hilarious thing about their weird kinda sort of possession, apart from the obvious, is that it mostly does fuck all to their personalities, such as they are. Like, did he walk off leaving his upset girlfriend because he's a dick, or because he's possessed? Who knows? Certainly not Matthews!
Oh, good, they've wandered back into Alton Towers. Maybe they'll get unlucky in the wrong roller coaster and end up losing some limbs.
Katie? Katie? Katie?
Somehow yelling random women's names has returned.
Steve? Steve?
Something's coming. Shut off your light.
It's a good move. It's not like you need them anyway.
It's always nice when the characters are the dimmest thing on screen.
What are you doing?
Excellent question.
Yeah, Matthews, what the fuck are you doing?
I suspect the only reason they put that YouTube thumbnail laser eyes shot in was to make sure we knew it wasn't an accident or Garrett Graham randomly turning into a serial killer, and even now I'm not so sure.
This whole thing is just vaguely defined people doing vaguely defined things in vaguely defined places. That does describe a lot of Matthews' films, but what makes this one unique is the vaguely defined possession that influences you in vaguely defined ways.
Hey, remember when Katie was the one who was possessed?
I'm guessing it'll be much harder for her to pick him up and violently drag him off screen.
I really don't want to bring this up because it's not a laughing matter, but Kadamba was violently murdered a few years after making this film, so this scene is making me very uncomfortable. Thankfully, nearly a mirror to troll vision is more than enough to bleach my mind and help me forget.
Forget about what?
I can't remember. Are we filming a review?
Yes, it seems we are, and the film drags. Drag.
These shots are more dragging than Miles Teller being mocked by Fan Four Stick by J.K. Simmons in a celebrity edition of the Boulet Brothers' Dracula. That is a strikingly flat floor for a newly uncovered cave system. Must have been ground down by dragging all those victims.
Garrett has Katie tied to the floor and has drawn a sigil around her. Seeing as there's no white paint in this cave, I'm regretfully forced to conclude that he used his own dandruff and semen to do it. And that seems like a lot of work, especially as everything in this film takes at least twice as long as it should.
Don't writhe so much, you'll ruin the sigil. If he fucks up the spell, you might end up in an even worse film.
That's almost effective.
Almost cleaver.
Almost never ending.
Oh, that's because he keeps missing. Gore blimey, these cooking conditions are unsanitary. Gordon Ramsay will be having a field day. Get it? Gordon Ramsay? Gore! That was a nice ad-lib.
So, who's been cut up? Trish, I think? In most films, keeping the identity secret will be to create tension, give us an eventual horrifying reveal. But in this, they just forgot to show us.
Plus the trolls locked up Trish's husband and the woman who was beaten with the torch in a cage, and they're very busy being bothered by his now insane pet suburbanite.
You know, after spending so many Paul Matthews films with so many characters with confusing or hard to follow aims, it is nice to have the troll. He's simple, he's clear, he's understandable. He wants head and doesn't care who has to kill to get it.
A little like Shia LaBeouf in that regard.
Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Having heard the dinner gong, Rob and his sister, /ex, have found Garrett and Katie, him still being possessed and her still tied up. Though if this film goes on much longer, they might swap again.
He's out of his crazy mind.
Merging crazy and out of his mind to create a combination of absolute nonsense. Classic Matthews.
Oh fuck, it's like a septuagenarian xenomorph. They're protected though by the minor globe of invulnerability.
Don't move! Stay in the bedroom!
Why is it electric though? And call it what it is. It's a vintage mid-90s glowy thing. It's practically a collector's item. Show some respect.
Hey, movie, did you have to use the shot where you can see the performer's head? I know you can do better than that. You did it in the same scene. It looks like he ate one of my minions' heads. If so, ask next time. It's only polite.
So in other news, Garrett seems to be trying to give the troll his amulet back and share his power. I think.
Here it is! Come on! We can be together!
I think Garrett is meant to be an okay guy who got corrupted by the amulet. Therefore explaining all the assaulting people, tying his girlfriend to a sigil but protecting her, and offering to rule the universe as father and son with the troll. You know, mixed signals.
Mixed signals? Compared to this, Berserker Hell's Warrior is coherent and tightly plotted.
Alas, the troll didn't accept his proposal of marriage.
Best/worst/just about average death of the film. Stabbed him right through his head and liquefied his brain. Now that's the real Nutty Putty cave incident.
Over here, asshole!
Okay, so apparently his big idea is to light some more dynamite, almost blow himself up, and bring the ceiling down on everyone. Dynamite! Apparently literally the solution to all his problems. It has a weird type of logic to it though. He can't embarrass himself failing to save people if he's already killed them. But it didn't work because the troll survived, and so did everyone else. Because Katie and the blonde were in the circle, shielded by the vaguely defined magic, and he jumped behind the camera where falling rocks don't exist.
Surely he could have just chucked the dynamite at the troll, that way it would get more of the blast and the ceiling would still come down on it. Sure, that would mean the blast is close to the sigil, but they were magically shielded and magic outranks explosives in this, and indeed most films.
Rob? Rob! Rob!
Oh fuck, Trish too, the robbening.
I'm okay.
I lost you.
I don't know why she's so freaked out. It's impossible to lose someone in this room. It's made of light sources. I know the guy playing Rob is desperately trying to act like he's injured and shell-shocked, but it looks more like his bowels are backing up thanks to 3 weeks of English cooking.
So in other news, the rockfall that was strong enough to kill everyone, but killed no one, didn't even manage to extinguish any of the literal candles jotted around the place, and Katie has realised that although the blade missed every vital organ, Garrett still died. And not just that, but the troll is still alive!
He's still alive.
Hey, they've accidentally discovered the troll's weakness. His phasing powers don't work when he's lying down.
What?
It's in my head.
Wait, is this Matthews trying to explain why the possession transferred from her to Garrett after this shot, and he didn't realise that means she died and was resurrected off screen and it never came up?
It's either that or the film is just bad.
Oh, this film is never just bad. Her dying and resurrecting again it is!
It's getting dark.
It really isn't.
Turn on your lights.
If anything, the show looks darker now.
We can't go back, not that way. If anything happens, run like hell.
Where? Up the fucking walls?
You don't understand. Anything happens, run like hell.
Where? Up the fucking walls?
Over at the cage, things are going pretty well, all things considered.
Leave me alone.
Wait, who's that? Is the film adding a new character just to see if we notice?
No, that's Ken.
Who the fuck is Ken?
The husband. The widower.
Huh?
He yelled, "Trish!" a lot.
Oh yeah, that fucker.
Trish!
I think the confusion comes from being shocked that most of these people actually have names before they get yelled at random after they die.
Sing, little birdie. Sing, little birdie. Sing for mommy. Sing, little birdie.
She seems to have been possessed by a riffer during her time with the troll.
Specifically that one.
That's a minion. Hey! You're meant to be behind the camera! Apologize!
Sorry.
You're ruining his shot.
Mistress.
You're ruining his light. I have an ethereal light that always emanates from me in my presence because I'm spectacular. But he needs the ring light. Apologize for knocking it. Say, Brian, I apologize profusely. Only the mistress is allowed to hurt you like that.
Brian, I apologize. Only the mistress is allowed to hurt you like that.
I accept the apology?
Oh, come on, her haircut's not that bad.
Well, I too take about 4 seconds to notice severed heads right in front of me. But that's because I do most of my beheading while sleepwalking. Anyway, how are they going to free the husband from the cage? The cage that I assume was used to store minors pre-emancipation.
Jeez, it's locked. Where's the key?
Now the big question is, do the team sacrifice a crystal to free him from the cage?
Hurry up! Get me out of here!
Oh, that was remarkably easy.
Well, of course it was easy. The cage is made of rust.
Come on, let's go!
Don't just leave her.
That is not how you get the hero to carry you to safety.
Ironically, this is some of the best dialogue in Matthew's career.
You can't even tell they were yelling in the ADR booth or not. My eye, my beautiful eye!
My eye! Oh, jeez!
And then they give up on dubbing entirely.
Come on! Let's go!
As though they can sense a way out, or maybe because the smell from the troll's getting better as they get away from it, the cavers finally find an underground river. And the millionth possible bit of daylight in the movie. Oh, wait a sec, I gotta do this. Smoke on the water! Fire in the sky! Fucking hell, even Matthews' water is unusually glowy.
So even though escape and the ending is seemingly close by, they all stop to take a break and talk about things like their hopes for the future.
I'm gonna cut that motherfucker's heart out.
With what, that tiny claw you spontaneously generated?
You're gonna have a really bad scar.
Oh yes, ignore the medical kit he probably should have brought down with him and cleaned his wound with filthy cave water. Honestly, this real-time scene only exists to let the troll catch up and do this.
Is a torch's weakness. He was born in the light. He was moulded by it. He didn't even close his eyes until he was already a man.
That's like trying to threaten a sewer-dwelling Victorian urchin with a case of the sniffles.
So what with the troll being almost incapable of walking and 90% of his shots being in slow motion, they really need to pull out the stops for him to catch up to them. First by running away from what looked like daylight, and then having this guy briefly forget how to use his legs and instantly fall over the second the shot changes.
Fuck you.
It's an unusually realistic level of done with this shit.
Suddenly my favourite character.
Same. In the grim darkness of the cave, there is only Trish!
Having sprinted through the only dark section of the cave, Katie, Rob and, Myrtle, maybe, have discovered the location of the troll's stone prison.
He was trapped here! He was trapped here!
How?
I don't know!
Well, that's useful, and a summary of Paul Matthews' writing in general.
He was trapped here!
How?
I don't know!
If you know your mythology, or your Tolkien, or your kick-ass Norwegian films, that is pretty obvious. This is the spot where the sunlight gets into the cave. Real sunlight, not all that fake sunlight he was growing in the cave to try and build up resistance, I assume. Because trolls are kind of allergic to sunlight.
Trolls are also sometimes able to phase through walls, other times they're the Kool-Aid man.
Oh yeah!
And just in case you forgot we were watching a Paul Matthews film... Glowy things. Is there anything they can't do?
Oh, it looks like Katie's also allergic to sunlight. Must be all that possession. Still, the statue's probably better than the troll being turned into a boulder and her, still alive, being fired to death inside of it. Probably.
So, what do you think's gonna happen the next time it gets out? Is she freed? Is it some kind of Brundlefly situation?
I don't care as long as I don't have to review it. I'm guessing in the original unmade version of Breeders, this was her origin as opposed to...
whatever happened in Breeders.
I remember a lot of nudity.
No. That was the other Breeders that the Paul Matthews one is a remake of. Sorta. But technically is actually the better one.
I love how they take so long to turn to stone because they had to make sure the performances lined up perfectly with the giant polystyrene rock they commissioned. Or not.
So, that's an ironically dark ending for a film made of that much light. Was that meant to be a karmic ending for releasing the troll in the first place?
Poor Katie.
Come on, let's go.
Well, they got over that very quickly, but to be fair, they don't give a fuck about her.
Yes, let's go home. Home to the house that's a couple of hours away from falling into its own basement.
Well, that'll teach her to be captured and go mad, I guess. Though the lesson wasn't really necessary. She already had the basics down.
Sing, little birdie, sing for mommy. Sing, little birdie.
What's the matter?
I had the most awful dream. You were there, and Katie, and your cousin Vincey looks like a troll. Well, that was bad.
It's always bad.
It's okay.
Nope, still bad. Look at the credits. You know a film's cast is stacked when the dog handler gets listed 6th, higher than about half the main cast. If you want proof that Paul Matthews did at least improve as a filmmaker, look no further than Grimm, which is his first and absolute worst. All the usual faults of Paul Matthews' writing and direction, terrible pacing, inconsistent characterization, bewildering logic, and poor editing are all here in abundance, amplified by an unknown cast largely giving terrible performances. Huge chunks of the movie are characters just bumbling around the cave, ideas are set up and don't go anywhere, the laughable attempts at trying to be American, the monster that looks like Bigfoot's evil cousin, it's just dire. Some decent practical effects are all I can really say it has going for it, and it's a prime example of just how bad things got in British film in the early 90s. But you can't say the title isn't fitting.
You know, the first time I saw Grimm, I thought it was one of Matthews' better films. Not good, but better. And I'm kind of wondering what sort of head injury I just had before that. Because holy crap, this makes most of his other ones look like art in comparison. The film's about 4 times longer than it needs to be. Most of the accents are a baffling collection of terrible. The England for USA doubling is so obvious, and the rest of the film is so boring, that you spend all your time thinking about that, and mercifully missing plot details. The few important plot details that weren't edited out for some reason. At least the troll's okay looking, for the minuscule budget I mean. You know, for the first time after doing one of these, I don't really feel like setting up the next one and mocking you with it and mwahaha and all that.
Oh. Does that mean we don't have to do the next one?
Of course we do! My people will call you, okay? It'll just take a little while. I'll call you, don't call me, and I fucking mean that. Minion, come on! Or don't, I don't care.
I think the film broke her a bit.
Oh, hi. I'm Ryan Hollinger. I review horror films. Big fan. Listen, can I stay with you? Because she knows where I live.
Thanks for watching the review. And if you enjoyed it, please feel free to subscribe, or if you want to support the show, you can head over to patreon.com/Hagan. There you can get early access, see exclusive videos, make requests, and join the Discord. If you're already a patron, then thank you for the support. And leave a comment if you like. YouTube likes it when people talk.